Hey first graders, I am back and we are going to have math. And so on your front porch last night, I dropped off clocks. So if you didn't know that, go look on your front porch. There should be a clock and there should be some cotton balls. And the little clocks that you have are called little Judy clocks. They're clocks for learning and the hands move and you can set them. And the big clock that we have at school has the minutes on it. But I picked it up when I got the stuff ready for class today, but I guess I left it sitting at the church, so I'm going to have to go back and look for it. But I've got one drawn out. Now this clock has black numbers and it has red numbers. So what do the black numbers tell us? They tell us the hour. How many hours are in a day? Well, there's 12. It goes around one time and you see 12 on the clock, then it goes around again. So there's actually 24 hours in a day, because if we add up, it goes around 2 times. So if we add up 12 plus 12, what do we get? 2 plus 2 is 4, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So we have 24 hours every day. But there are 12 hours on the clock. Hours are the main things we have to worry about. It's like I told you, if some of y'all don't have siblings old enough to, some of you don't have siblings at all that live at home, and some of them are not old enough to play a game with you. But if you have video games, I used to time my children. And I would tell them they could have 30 minutes a time, or they could have 15 minutes for a turn. Well, each hour gets 60 minutes for his turn. Every hour the same, because their mama did it all fair. So if we look at the little orange marks, they are the minutes. But not all clocks tell you what the minutes are, so you have to learn to count them up. So let's just start counting. We start at 0, because we always start at 0 when we're counting. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if we're looking at the hour, it's 2 o'clock. But if we're looking at the minutes, it's 10 minutes, okay? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If you're at the 3, it's 3 o'clock. But if you're looking at minutes, it's 15. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So what are we doing here? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We're counting by 5s. So there are 5 minutes in between each number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 minutes between each one of these numbers. So we have different hands that tell us how to look at the clock. We have a short hand and we have a long hand. We have a short hand and we have a long hand. Now we have to learn which hand goes with which. One of those hands goes with the numbers, with the hours, and one of those hands goes with the minutes. So which hand, do you remember which hand goes with the hours? Shorthand hours, shorthand hours, shorthand hours. So we just look to the shorthand and it tells us what hour we are on. What hour is that clock on? 4. And the long hand will tell us the minutes. We learned that when the long hand is on the 12, what does that mean? O'clock. So what time is that? 4 o'clock. What if I did the long hand? Just ignore this line. What if I did the long hand on the 9? Would it still be 4? Yes, because it hasn't gotten to 5 o'clock yet. So 4 hasn't used up all of his turn yet. And we have to count the minutes up, and they are 45. So when the long hand is on the 9, does it mean 9 or does it mean 45? You have to know that the long hand is telling you minutes. It's not going with the numbers, it's going with the little minutes. And most clocks don't show you the minutes, so you have to learn to count them. And since there's 5 in between each number, we can just count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25:30, 35:40, 45. So we say shorthand hours, shorthand hours, shorthand hours, shorthand hours, longhand minutes, longhand minutes. Say it with me. Shorthand hours, shorthand hours, longhand minutes, longhand minutes. Which are the hours on the clock? The big numbers. They're the hours. It goes with the shorthand. What are the little tiny ones? The minutes. It goes with the longhand. So far we have memorized longhand on the 12 means o'clock. And I think that's all we've had to memorize. And we've done some 30 minutes, but we haven't had to memorize it. So let's look at your paper today. And they have clouds out beside each number. What do you think those clouds are for? What are the hours on this clock? The hours are the numbers on the inside. All clocks show the hours. Not all clocks show the minutes, so I want you to count the minutes. So count each little mark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 on the first one. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have to count the red marks too because they are minutes too. All right, so if we start right here and we're at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We keep counting. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So you can see that we're counting by fives because there are 5 minutes in between each number. That's a group of 5. And that's a group of 5 minutes. And that's a group of 5 minutes. And that's a group of 5 minutes. And there are 5 minutes there. Let's see if there's 5 minutes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, let's see if there's 5 minutes over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 minutes every time. So you can just label it counting by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and that's the end because we start at 0. You could call that 60, but it's the beginning, so we have to start at 0. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So each one gets 60 minutes, but since this is the beginning, we don't want to write 60 down, but it is 60 because it goes 55, 60, the end. Then it has to start again. So if you wanted to put 2 things down, you'd have to look at 60 when you get to the end, but when you're starting, you got to start at 0 because that's also the beginning. All right, now let's see. We've got our clock filled out, and we understand what the minutes are with the longhand and the hours are with the shorthand. Let's look. How many minutes are in 1 hour? Okay, so you have to understand the shorthand is moving and the longhand is moving. The longhand is going to go all the way around one time, 3 o'clock, and it'll be pointing to 3. And then when it goes around again, it's going to be pointing to 4. So each hour gets 60 minutes for a turn. So 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So if you got to sit at the doctor's office for an hour, you are going to be sitting there for 60 minutes, a long time. So if a whole hour is 60 minutes and we cut the clock in half, I'm going to cut my clock in half. We know how to cut things in half. How much is half of the clock? Starting up here and going halfway around. 30 minutes. Well, 2 halves should make the whole thing. Let's add up 30 plus 30 and see if that makes 60. So I've got 30 plus 30. So 0 plus 0 is 0, and 3 plus 3 is 6. That is so neat. So it's 30 minutes on this side and 30 minutes on that side. Go all the way around. It's 60 minutes. I know this is confusing, but as you see it work out this week, you'll start to understand it. It says write the times. Okay, well, we always look at what the shorthand just passed. What did the shorthand just pass on that first clock? You can draw a little line and see what did it just pass. It just passed the 11. And now when we're looking at the longhand, we're going to be looking at the minutes. Does this clock show us minutes? No, it does not, but we can look up here at this one. We've got our minutes all written out. When the long hand is on the 6, it means 30. When the long hand is on the 6, it means 30. So how do we say this time? It's 11:30. Let's look at the next clock. Both hands are pointing to 12. So the hour hand is on 12, so it is 12. And the long hand is on 12, and it is o'clock because the minutes are at 0. They're at the beginning. And the way we write it is 0, 0. No minutes. Okay, so that's 12 o'clock. Now here's a digital clock. These are the kind of clocks most of us have today. It says 100. What does that mean? It means 1 ... o'clock. What do we put in between when we're writing it down? What do we put in between the hour and the minutes to separate it? We put ... That lets everybody know the first number is the hour, goes with this little hand, and the second numbers are the minutes, and they go with the long hand. Look at the next one. It says 130. What time is that? 1 ... 30. 1:30. Okay, so this is really review, but it's been a little while since we reviewed it, and that's why I'm going over everything so thoroughly. So listen with your ears. Oh, and now we have some clocks, some watches. All right, let's see. When I was doing personal narrative, I wrote on the back, and it kind of came through. So you look at yours, and I'll look at mine. The first watch, what is the shorthand pointing to? 4. So I'm going to put a 4 on the hours, like this. And then what is the minute hand pointing to? O'clock. So I'm going to put O. It's 4 o'clock. Now circle the one that shows that. 4 o'clock. See how to do that? Pretty easy. All right. What is the shorthand pointing to on the next clock? What is the minute hand pointing to? Remember, you can count the minute hand by 5s. Starting at the 1, that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. The time is 10:30. Where is that on the watches? All right, I want you to do the next two completely by yourself. If you need to go back and look at the first page to review the minutes, you can. Or if you just want to count them by 5s, you can. But the first one you start with is 5. So the 1 is 5 because you have to get to 1 to have 5 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5, 10, 15, 20, so on and so forth. All right, what else is on that back page? It says, write the time 2 ways. What are they talking about? So 1 is with a ... so that's pretty easy. What is the hour hand pointing to? And what's the minute hand pointing to? So you can write it just using numbers, or you can use it with numbers and words. So you can write it 4 o'clock, or you can just write it 4 o'clock. There's 2 ways we can choose to do it. All right, do the next one. On the bottom, it says write the missing numbers. What are you counting by? Hundreds? Does it say 100, 200, 300, 400? Is it counting by tens? 137, 147, 157. Or is it counting by ones? 137, 138, 100. Okay, finish that by yourself. Now I want you to get your place value blocks out, and I will wait just a minute while you go run and get them. Run and get them. Or you can pause the video. And I'm going to write down some numbers, and I want you to build it, and then I will draw it, and we will see if you have the same thing that I draw. I want you to build 312. 312. Okay, I'll give you some time to build it. I'm going to draw it. If you do not have it built, you need to pause your video because I'm fixing to show you what I built with my drawing place value blocks. Here we go. We've got 100, 200, 300, 310, 311, 312. What is this number? 312. So we've got ones, tens, hundreds. Ones, tens, hundreds. If you're calling out a number in the hundreds, you've got to have 3 numbers there, or it'll just be ones and tens. All right, the next one I want you to build okay, let's see if you can build this one. What is that number? See if you can build that number without me saying what the number is. And when you get it built, see if yours matches mine. All right, if you're not done building, pause the video because I'm fixing to reveal it. All right, let's count it. 100, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, 260, 261, 262. Whoops. 263, 264. That number is 264. All right, I'm going to give you a number and I'm going to draw it and you have to write down what it is. Okay, so I'm going to draw this number. So get you a dry erase board and a marker, or get you a pencil and a paper and get ready to count this up. All right, are you ready? I'm going to show you this number. It's all of this right here. Count it up and write it down. Okay, if you don't have it written, pause your video because I'm fixing to write it. We have hundreds, so if we have hundreds, we have to have ones, tens, and hundreds, and all of them have to be filled. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Are there any tens? No, so I'm going to give it a 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 ones. So that is, how do we say that? 509. Somebody just rang my doorbell. I'm going to pause this and be right back. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, I took care of that.